What's up, YouTube family? Where's my soul tribe at? I'm looking for you. Where you at? So anyway, I'm uh I'm just gonna keep talking, man, and putting stories out there, and like I said, the reason I'm doing this and I'm sharing my experiences and my traumas and my hardships and the tough things, the pains, all the stuff that I dealt with. I'm doing this because I want to reach people. I want to reach anybody out there who's suffering from pain, trauma, addiction, abandonment, childhood traumas, lifelong traumas. Just I'm trying to reach that audience, and I know damn well there are millions of people out there that have been hurt, are being hurt, are healing, or are focusing on themselves, are trying to get out of ruts and predicaments that they're in. And really, I just want to be like, I want to support that, and I want to be like a beacon of light, let's say, or to give hope and just like reiterate to people that whatever you're going through, you could get through it. One way or another, you're gonna get through it. You could welcome whatever it is, whatever situation it is, and accept it for what it is, and figure out how to move through it. You could find your faith. You could, pray to your God. Like, you do whatever you have to do. And at the end of the day, this just comes down to, I want to spread love and light and positivity. And it's tough. It's tough dredging up past experiences that were hurtful and traumatic. Don't get me wrong. After I did the last video, I had to take some time after that and just be like, wow, I can't believe, I'm sharing this stuff with whoever's watching and listening to this. Like, and my girlfriend like patted me on my back, and she was like, I'm proud of you. She's like, you put it out. She's like, people need to hear it, put it out. Because I was thinking about not. And I got to speak my truth at the end of the day. So um yesterday was a beautiful day. It was I'm in New York, and we're still in winter time, but yesterday was sunny, 63 degrees. I got out to play golf, 18 holes. It was I got sunburn on my arms and on my neck. It felt really good to be out there in nature, and with a couple of friends. So I played golf yesterday. That was a good time. Took a nap when I got home because the pain that I go through after a day of activities is it's horrendous. And I came home. I took a little nap. Jumped in an Epsom salt bath. I gotta take an Epsom salt bath every day for my muscles. Just for the back pains and whatever I'm going through. And I took a bath. I got ready again, and I went out to a pool hall. I play pool every Wednesday. Uh, I've been religiously playing pool on Wednesday nights in a charity league that donates all their contributions and their monies that they collect on a weekly basis to. It started off for autistic children. We were doing that for about 12 years, and then we started donating to the tower, the twins, the tunnels for towers, where they help veterans and people, widows and families of deceased veterans get homes, pretty much, I think, completely paid for. So our contributions have been going to that these last 2 seasons. Um, I play in this charity league because the guy who runs it, I call him Uncle Apples. Uh, I've had this guy in my life since my early 20s. My father was a pool player. He was a hustler. He owned a pool hall back in the day, in New York City, Manhattan, on Broadway. Uh, he was the only pool hall that was like on a upper floor. Usually they're on the first floor, because who wants to carry pool tables up flights of stairs? But he was the only one with a pool hall on the eighth floor, or whatever building he was in. And I remember a story of him telling me that he played some guy a game of pool, whatever they played, he put up his $10,000 against this guy's custom pool table. That was the bet. And you know, my father beat him, and we had that custom pool table in the first house that I lived in growing up for the first 7 years. And when we moved out of that house, he actually had to leave the pool table with the house because it was just too much to carry out and bring along to where, to the next place we were going to. But that was the kind of guy he was, like business owner, hustler. He was great at pool. So I grew up playing pool. I wanted to be good too, and I got good. I was good as a kid. I was beating adults and hustling here and there, making money on the table. Acting like I couldn't play, and then playing when I needed to. Uh, it's the hustle, right? So it's in my blood. Um, so my father started playing pool again in his later years when I was in my 20s, um, and that's where he met Uncle Apples. When my father passed away, Uncle Apples stayed in my life. Uncle Apples and Uncle Charlie. These two guys were the pool hall guys that I consider family, and they remind me of my father. So having them in my life all these years it's been amazing, and great. It's great people to have in my life. So Uncle Apples has been running this charity league close to 20 years now, and I got involved in it, and happily, and I've been part of his team for the last at least 8 years. The team's name is Sour Apples, and it's funny because uh, he's getting old in his age. He's about to hit 90 years old, this guy, and every season, me and my buddy, we look up to him like an uncle and like family, and he's like, I need you guys. So we're there. We're there for him till his last days. We'll always be there for him. And when I'm not playing up to par and I'm not doing good, he has no problem yelling at me and screaming and getting upset that I'm not playing up to my potential, because he knows he knows I can shoot. And so lately we've been just trying to take home these first place trophies for him every season, and we got a couple. I think we got 4 first place trophies just in the last 4 seasons leading up to this one. I don't think we're gonna win one this. We'd probably take a second place this season, and that's neither here nor there. Um, I don't even know how I got on this tangent. So I went and shot pool last night. After playing golf, 5 hours standing on my leg and bending over the table and shooting. I come home, my lower back is locked up. I got sciatic pains, and I can tossing and turning in bed because it's just that my body can't take it. But I still do it. And I got to get up the next morning. I got to get up and motivate and get out of the house. And my girlfriend's been currently she's been going through her own issues medically, and I've been 100% her support team. I've been there for her, and I've been with her every step of the way. She's currently in physical rehabilitation at St. Charles. So while she's in there doing her physical rehab, I sit out here and I wait for her, and this is when I'm deciding to put the time into making these videos to share with people. I'm just trying to be positive and motivational and inspirational, and I hope this message reaches the right person, the right people. Like I said, I know there's a wide range of an audience that I could talk to and relate to, and that they could relate to me. And I'm looking for them. I'm really looking for them. I got 20 subscribers so far. I'm probably like 40-50 views on my first 2 videos. My shorts are doing a little bit better. I guess because they're reaching people sooner, and people don't have to put too much time and attention into a short as they do these 20-something minute videos, these 20-minute videos that I'm putting out. So like I said, I hope this reaches the right person with the purest intentions and with love. Like, I can honestly say that I love you because I love me, and it took a long time for me to love me. I thought my whole life I was loving people, and I was. My heart was always there, but from the love that I knew and the love that I wanted, it was two different things. Um, so when I started focusing on this healing journey, which was right around COVID, I went into hermit mode. I totally pulled back from my lifestyle and my life and the people that I used to call my friends. Um, I pulled back from anything toxic and anything negative. And I remember writing. I'm a writer, and I wrote something out one day that had something to do with. I basically said I have to focus on loving me now, and first and foremost that every day is about my self love and trying to be a better man than I was yesterday. And I've been sticking to that religiously. Um, when I was in my darkest times, I found God and I found Jesus and I found my faith again, and I'm I'm so thankful for that, because having faith and having hope is major keys to success and to healing. I grew up in a Catholic. I was a Catholic school boy. Uh, I was an altar boy. I was in church all the time. Um, First to seventh grade, St. Patrick's Catholic School in Brooklyn, New York. Um, I wore a tie and blue dress pants and a button-up shirt to school for 7 years. And I still have friends from those years that I grew up with that are brothers that they're still there. I could think about my one best friend from Brooklyn, my boy Chuck. I could just think about him, and within a day or two, he calls me and he's like, "You thinking about me?" And I was like, "Yo, I was. I was just thinking about something, whatever it was." And it's just so funny that we still have that connection and that bond, and he's a brother, and so I was born, born and raised Catholic, and like I said, after my accident, I lost my faith, and I strayed from the path, and it took 20 years for the prodigal son to return, I guess you could say, and and I did, and I'm back, and it's great. I trust every day in God and the universe, and the fact that I'm doing the right things, and I'm living right, and whatever I need in life is gonna come to me when it comes to me. Like, I'm in the right places at the right times for the right reasons with the right people. That's it, all the time, and I could really trust that, and that's amazing. Like, even when bad things are happening, because bad things happen, I could still have the faith that I'm going to get through it, and somehow, some way, it's going to work itself out, and it does. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Um, so my girlfriend's in physical rehabilitation, and she's basically she's having to learn how to walk again. She's been off her feet for like a good year and a half now. She had an accident where she had a traumatic brain injury, and it turned her life upside down. Um, she lost her short-term memory, um, which it affected her work. She lost her job. She lost her apartment. She lost a lot of things, and the weight of both of our worlds were on my shoulders, and I stepped up as I always have. Um, I've been 100% her caretaker. I do everything. I pay the bills. I do the shopping, the cooking, the cleaning, whatever it takes. I get her to the doctors. I'm on top of it, and I'm a ride or die, like 100% ride or die, and she knows that. She's got a loyal, committed, faithful, honorable man in her corner that she could always depend on. That she always has and she always will. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna speak anymore on her story. That's her story to tell. But it's also what I'm living through is also my story, and the fact that I'm disabled. I got one leg I gotta put on every day. I deal with my pains. I deal with my issues, and I still show up for both of us, and and make sure that her life is comfortable, as comfortable as it can be. I'm proud of that, and I have every right to be. Um, that's what a partner and a significant other is supposed to do. It's the good times and the bad, sickness and health, right? So that's why I'm at St. Charles twice a week and deciding to do these videos. Um, let me take a breath. So today's gonna be light. It's gonna be light. I'm not gonna talk about too many traumas today. I'm gonna talk about how after that year of coming out of the hospital and being in that dark place, and I met the next love of my life exactly 1 year later. And I said I was going to touch on these numbers because when I got in my accident, it was 6699. When I met my next girlfriend that I was going to be with for the next 14 years, it was on 6900. When I got in this second life altering accident, that woke me up, really awakened me spiritually, and to the protection that God has over my life. I got in an accident at exit 69. So the next year, I meet up with my girlfriend, the love of my life that I'm with now, on 9/6. It's just wild. I was 21 when I met my first girlfriend. I was 42 when I met my second. I was 20 when I got my motorcycle accident. I was 40 when I got in that second accident. It was 2020. These numbers, right? These numbers made me start looking into angel numbers, and a lot of us that are spiritually awakened or awakening, we see these numbers every day, right? The 10/10s, the 11/11s, 12/12s, whatever the fuck. What All numbers have a spiritual meaning, and I've done the research. I've looked into many of them. I've I've been able to have conversations with people just talking about these numbers, and after having a full-blown conversation with them, I say, "What time is it?" They see what time it is. Google that time for me. Look up angel number. Right now it's 2:33, right? Look up angel number 2:33 and tell me what it says. And they read it, and pretty much everything in that angel number is 100% accurate and on point to whatever it was that I was talking to them about at the moment. And it's like, how does that universally happen so perfectly, right? It's amazing. So I've opened up a lot of people's eyes to angel numbers, and I love them. I look at them sometimes when I need my own little inspiration and motivation, just to know that I'm continuing to be on my path. And so a year later, after I got out of the accident, I met up with my girlfriend, and I felt that at that time God brought an angel into my life to save my life, because like I said, my intentions were not good. I was just about to get a little lawsuit money. $110,000 was my settlement. I don't know a person alive today that would give up a leg and some fingers and have to deal with the pain and agony and misery and suffering that came with that physical disability for the next, this is 26 years later. I don't know anybody that would sign up for that for $110,000. Could keep that money. You know what I'm saying? So I met her right at the right time for me, like for my life, because having her in my life, and now made I had to step up and be the man, and be the sole provider and supporter. She just graduated high school. She had no guidance as to where she was going to go with her life. And you know I knew she wanted to take a year off before she went to college. I helped her get her next job. My mother had a friend in Blockbuster Video. I know we all remember Blockbuster Video. Um, my mother's friend got her a job instantly and pushed her up into management position quick. So, she was able to become an assistant manager and a manager, and have a salary, and start building her resume. And I was able to help guide that a little bit, because I had already made my mistakes. I already messed up my credit, my license, and shit like that. So I was able to help her not do that, build her credit over 700. Good things, positive things, right? So having her in my life made me, now I had to take care of two people. And it was I gotta blow my nose. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this. So it was only 1 year after my accident. Uh, she wasn't living at home when I met her. She was kind of a runaway. She was living at a friend's house. I kind of didn't like the condition she was living in. Um, my mother decided, like, this 1 year after the accident, that she was going to leave my father just in the middle of the day when my father wasn't home one day. She planned it all out. She moved out and abandoned him like he wasn't shit to her, right? And I had no idea that she was gonna do that. She didn't tell me she was leaving. She didn't ask me if I was gonna be okay. And none of that shit. She just left. She took my little sister, who at the time was 11 years old, and she moved out. And my father my father was shocked. Like, this really destroyed him in his last years. To have a woman that he did everything for, for her and her two children, which was his children as well. But he did everything to provide for us, uh, whatever it took. So when she left, now it was just me and him. And I said, Dad, I want my girlfriend to move in. I'll pay you rent for both of us, and this is what I want. And he said, if that's what you want, then yeah, no problem. Um, so I moved her in with me. We were basically, we were living with my father, who was deteriorating in his health. I wound up being his caretaker for the next 4 or 5 years, and his health went bad. He was on oxygen. He had all the things that come with smoking. Crazy heart problems. He already had 3 heart attacks, triple bypass. He was on oxygen. Then the Alzheimer's kicked in. So he was losing his memory, and deteriorating fast. So the next year, when my mother moved in, I moved out. My father didn't know what he was gonna do, how he was gonna hold the house down. I wound up separating my house in half, because he built a huge extension on my house. And we were able to separate it in half, and get all the paperwork done with the town, and the C of O's, and make it an accessory apartment so that there could be a rental income. Instantly, someone that I called a brother and a best friend of mine moved in with his wife and his kids, and they remained there for 10 years. Loyal tenants. I had my friend living in the house, so I seen him every day. His kids, I was Uncle Steven. It was nice. Um, when my father wound up, so I don't want to jump around too much. Um, so I got my lawsuit money. I spent 40 something thousand dollars instantly on a brand new Lexus. I loved it. To roll off a parking lot with a car that had 8 miles on it, and know that it's never been touched. It's mine. I made it the way I wanted it. And it was funny. I walked into the Lexus dealership, and it was a Wednesday, and I knew I was gonna have my money by Friday. And I just went over to the first salesman I seen. He was an Italian guy. I said, "You want to make some money today?" He's like, "I'd love to make some money today." I said, "All right, I want the IS 300 and I want it in yellow." And he was like, "You're gonna have to wait 6 months for that." And I was like, "I'm not waiting 6 months. I want my car this weekend." And he goes, "All right, well, choose a different color." I said, "All right, can I get the charcoal gray with the black suede interior?" "Nah, we can't make it in that combination." I said, "All right, well, can I get the blue one?" He was like, "You can get the blue one." So I got the blue one with the black suede and the bigger wheels and the fucking the bumper to bumper gold package warranty. I just put it all on, add it all up, and I wasn't arguing about price, none of that shit. So I was like, I could write you a deposit check today. If you cash it, it's gonna bounce right back at you. Yeah, I said, but Friday, I promise you, I'm coming in with a cashier's check, and this is free and clear. So they set me up. Friday, I came in. My father drove me in there. I got my car. I rolled off the parking lot, and that was one of like the happiest moments, like from after the accident that I can remember. I mean, besides meeting like the love of my life, obviously. So I got that car, and man, that car was with me a long time. Uh, that car was sentimental value. Like I gave up an arm and a leg for that car, and so it really meant a lot to me. Uh, that's not, that's just another story. So I'm going on almost 30 minutes here. I'm gonna cut it short soon. Not that it's short, but I'm gonna cut it off soon. Uh, so my friend moved in. My father had a rental income now. Um, he was still falling short on his mortgages. I wound up having to cover like three mortgage payments in a row, which was like $7,500 at the time, just to save the house. Then I had some mortgage friends who I was in the business with. I sold mortgages for a little while. Uh, I had somebody put him in a reverse mortgage because he couldn't afford it, and for him to live out his last days collecting checks and plus his rental income, I just wanted him to go out as easily and as happily as he possibly could in those last years. My mother not being around and in the picture allowed us to reestablish and form a relationship and a bond that I wanted my whole life. So my father, like I said, was abusive as I was growing up, like physically abusive. Like I would get beatings. um I realized later in life that if I was married to such a woman that was a nagging narcissist, I'd probably be angry and want to beat the shit out of somebody too. I realized how miserable that she made him. uh so I couldn't expect nothing more, nothing less, right? So I remember, I'm gonna give you two stories real quick. Uh, I remember when I came home from boot camp. I came home from boot camp for like 2 weeks, and I came home with my. I was now molded into being a soldier, right? So, uh, honor and respect were absolutely there. My father wanted to fuck around and get and wrestle around and just still be the tough guy, and I wound up putting him on the floor and just pinning him down and like basically telling him, listen, old man, your son's not he's not the same kid that left for boot camp anymore. Like, we're not doing this. You know what I mean? Those days are over. And I just kept him pinned for a second, and I said, this is it. Like, we're not doing this anymore. And things stopped. He didn't get handsy with me again, not until the last time, which was one more time. It was after my mother left. I was probably 22, maybe 21. Something had happened. I think I was maybe arguing with my girlfriend. He got pissed off at me. He sucker punched me in the gut in the living room one day, and he knocked the wind out of me. My father was a Golden Glove boxer growing up. He knew how to throw a punch, and he knew how to hurt, right? So when he hit me in the gut, I looked at him because I really wanted to hit him so bad, but I knew in my heart, not only would I hurt this man, but the shock of me hurting this man could possibly put him in the hospital with another heart attack. That's how I felt. Like, I didn't want to be the reason that my father would wind up in the hospital, you know? So I went out into the garage. I think I fucking broke something in the garage. Uh like a glass cabinet of his or something. I think I might have slammed my cane through it and shattered some glass. And he instantly ran to the door to the garage, and I'm fucking crying. Tears are pouring out of my face. And he's like, stop being a little bitch. He's like, what does that hurt? Da, 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 da. And I'm tears in my face. And I go, you know what hurts? So let me tell you what hurts. The fact that my whole life you've been putting hands on me, and I never hit you back because I thought that I'd fucking kill you. And I don't hit you because I respect you. And what does that mean for you? You don't respect me? You don't love me? You don't care about me enough? Because you're basically hitting a punching bag that's not going to hit you back. You knew I was never going to hit you back. That doesn't make you a tough guy. And I saw the tears start coming out of his face. And the way my words touched his heart, from that day going forward, our relationship was blessed. I feel like even all of the damage that was done prior was healed in that moment of clarity and that moment of honesty. And he, like I said, he never ever touched me again, not unless it was to give me a hug and a kiss. And those next 5 years of his life before he passed away were the best 5 years that I had ever gotten to spend with my father. So I have nothing but love and good memories for him going out. And I still see him often. He visits me in my dreams. I know he's always around me. Everywhere I go, I see his name on license plates. His name was Al. And I see Al on license plates around me every time I'm out and about. I'm talking every time I see his name. I'm looking at it right now across the parking lot. I see his name on a license plate right now. And that's how I know my father's with me, in the spiritual world, and in my heart. And I love him so much. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope it wasn't too heavy today. 33 minutes. I love you guys, and I just hope I reach the right people, man. I really do. I hope I could help somebody out just by sharing these kind of stories with them. So that being said, I wish everybody well, and I love you. Goodbye.